Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing today? Another new week. Time seems to be going by quickly. So, today I want to talk about relationship. And I want to speak to, I did an episode about a year ago, a little over a year ago, about how there's this epidemic of single women. And I was looking at it from the perspective of there's a difference in the development of where women are versus men. But a little over a year later, I would say I would refine this actually even more, that it's not just where women are at versus where men are at, but really there's a difference in consciousness. So there might be some of you that are feeling like you just don't understand why it's so hard to be in romantic partnership right now and why you're not finding your man or your woman. So I'm primarily going to be speaking to singles, but I think this topic is also going to be relevant for those that are in relationship that might find that their relationship is changing or it's in need of a change, because what we're going through right now in these years is a complete paradigm shift of what romantic relationship and partnership is. It's like we're changing the template of relationship. And at the core of this, what is initiating this and what is also making it very challenging is it's a shift in consciousness. So I want to dive into why, for a certain group of people on this planet, it's really hard right now to find meaningful, fulfilling relationship, and what we can do, and actually how we can support one another collectively on an energetic level, because this is going to tie into what we're moving to on the macro as well. So let's dive in and see where it takes us. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. So let's just jump straight to what I'm observing as the main challenge of why some people are finding it really, really hard to find a partner, a romantic partner. Because what I've noticed, because I look at patterns and obviously I speak to people, whether it's personal or through these kind of platforms, and it's a challenge and a struggle that reaches beyond age and beyond female masculine, right? It's and beyond culture and beyond where you're geographically located. So it's not like, oh, this place or this age group, or if you're a woman or if you're a man, it's really kind of ubiquitous, you could say. But what I would zoom it into is a group of people that have something in common, and that is that they are really shifting their being, their center of being right now, and the way in which they live life into one that is much more conscious, much more self-aware, that is really asking the question, what has meaning to me? What do I want to create? What is fulfilling for me? What kind of love, what kind of relationship, what kind of life am I here to live right now? Because, it began before 2020, but I think 2020 was such a kind of pivotal moment in our history because we were all thwarted into this kind of reality bending, reality augmenting experience that sparked this kind of shift in how do I want to live my life now? Because what we're going through right now is massive, massive paradigm shifting, crumbling, rebirth, death, rebirth cycles. I mean, it's huge. It's been a quite intense 6 years, and it continues to be, right? But there's a great opportunity in that of how do we want to live from this point forward, right? So what that means is that all of the old ways of being don't really work anymore. They don't really work. They don't feel fulfilling. They don't feel gratifying. They don't feel like, it doesn't satiate our soul, because what we're doing is we're living more from a place of the soul integrating into our human experience. Sorry, I feel like this is a bit crooked. If you're watching the video. So because of that, there is this, this kind of uncomfortable transition, because if the old doesn't work, but the new hasn't fully come into form, it's like, well, where are we? Where are we? And it's a lot of people are saying it's like in the chrysalis, we're in the metamorphosis, right? And transition often is really, really uncomfortable. And, on a collective, well, it starts, of course, as within, so without. So it starts with the individual, and then, of course, it goes into the entire collective. But we are undergoing such tremendous, what's the word that I want to use? Well, the typical words that we hear are cleansing, purging, healing, letting go, resolving, releasing, evolving. We're really doing work on the behalf of, like, the generations that came before us. So it's no small feat. Like, we didn't come here for just like a little, jaunt around the park around the park. Like, it's a proper, like, Ironman marathon right now. So it's not for the faint of heart. The souls that chose to come in this time are not cowardly, let's put it that way. And I think those that are really on the forefront of wanting to raise the consciousness and wanting to help ignite and awaken and remember who we truly are, and bring who we truly are in our etheric form into this form. It's the integration, and a lot of people have said this. What's so amazing about these times is what we're accessing is the brilliance and the expansion of who we are in our true form, but we're bringing it into physical matter. And that's really profound. That's really, really beautiful. It kind of makes me think, the analogy is like when you have a song, right? When you have a sound, when you have a note and it becomes a song, and maybe that song becomes an instrument, and then that instrument creates another song, or it adds to the song. And it's just, we have this amazing capacity to take something that is a spark of inspiration, a spark of light, and put it into physical form. And that's really amazing. So whether that's a song or an instrument or a piece of art or a meal or something, we have this ability and capacity to put it into physical form. So that might seem like a tangent, but it's like the essence of what I'm connecting to right now and that I'm feeling is that we are, as I said in the beginning, we're rewriting a new template of relationship. So why a lot of people are single, and the people that are single right now might be looking towards another group. And I don't like to say this in terms of like one is better and one is worse and, superior, inferior. It's not about that at all. It's just different levels of graduation. Like, everybody will get there eventually, but we have our own timing, right? We have our own cycles. For some, it might happen in this lifetime. For some, it won't. For some, it might happen within the next year. For others, it might happen in the next decade. Like, it doesn't matter, right? It's not a race for time. But some might be looking in the direction of like, well, but why are all of those people in relationship? Why do they have what I want but I don't have it? Why is it easy for them, but it's not easy for me? And I hear this so often. But then I ask the question, yeah, but would you want that relationship? And they say no. And it's not that that relationship is worse, but the difference is consciousness. That is the key differentiation right now. So before, I felt there was this, women were a little bit ahead of the curve when it came to where we were in our development of doing the inner work, doing the shadow work, really coming into our worth. The women and feminine have really had to go through that, because there's been such a what is the word for it? Desecration of the feminine and a disempowerment of the feminine. And so women have really had to come together and do it on their own and with other women for a long time now. But now there's also been this beautiful movement of men, of brotherhood, so we're reconnecting to sisterhood and reconnecting to brotherhood. And really, what is the divine feminine? What is the divine masculine? How do we incorporate both into us so that it's not gender based? And how do we really look at our shit, to put it simply, right? And how do we take responsibility? How do we become spiritual adults rather than kind of adolescents that are running around still looking for the authority or looking for the other to fill the void, or, make me feel better, make me feel whole, make me feel good enough. And of course, simultaneously, we're dealing with the very real wounds of why we've had that, why we've been in that paradigm, in that construct of not feeling good enough, of not feeling lovable, of not feeling worthy, of the insecurity, of the wobbly attachment styles, whether it's anxious or avoidant. Like there's really good reason for why that has been here, because we've been a culture that has been so disconnected from source and disconnected from ourselves and disconnected from true, safe, genuine, authentic connection in all areas, not just in romantic partnership. So it makes sense, and we have to give ourselves just credit and patience that we're unlearning a lot of really unhealthy habits, I guess you could say, but to look at it through the lens of compassion. So just like take a moment to be like, we're all trying our best here, right? We're really trying our best. But what I'm really seeing is this as we are in this rise and elevation of consciousness, as we're tuning in and turning more of ourselves on to into presence, like some people use the word, like we're coming online more, we're turning up the dial, the volume, whatever language resonates for you. There is this the awakening comes through the remembrance of who we are. And so if a group of people is coming into that level of consciousness, and if you say that that level of consciousness is a different frequency, you're literally on a different bandwidth. And you could even say you're moving into a different dimension, a different dimensional field and plane. Anything that is not of that resonance isn't going to feel right. There's going to be a discord there. It's not going to feel right. And so that's why when I, and this is just a genuine question, when you ask, would you want to be in that relationship? And people say no. There's the envy maybe of like, well, why are they in a relationship and I'm not? But when you say, would you want to be in that particular kind of relationship? And they say no, it's because it's in a different frequency band. It's a different level of consciousness. Again, this isn't about judgment. It's not about superior, inferior. It's just simply different. And if you're wanting to be on a certain tone, we're needing to find a resonant tone that we can make music with, that we can be in symphony with, right? And unfortunately just now in this current time, that pool becomes very small. So the pool of people that you choose to be with is small right now. I do believe that as more and more people awaken, and I think, how we can collectively support one another is to emanate, to be the emanation of this frequency, the emanation of this level of consciousness, so that it really, in a beautiful way, becomes infectious to others, right? And so then we elevate more and more and more people, eventually all of us. And so then the pool will widen, right? Each person that awakens, each person that connects to their consciousness, each person that gains more self-awareness, and the pool gets larger and larger. It's just that right now, the people that are at the forefront, it's a small pool. So like call that 20%, 25% of the population, of the world population right now. So if you think of, I would have 100%, but let's call it 50% because of, whatever your sexual orientation is. But then if you take that 100% and you make it 20%, and then 10%, right? The pool is tiny. It feels really small. And so it's no wonder that it's hard. It's hard for people to go, well, where's my man, or where is my woman? Where is this relationship that I really, truly, desire and long for, and that I'm no longer willing to compromise myself or go into old patterns of toxicity and codependence, and to live out like my wound or my inner child's wound. I'm no longer willing to do that because I've done the work, or I'm doing the work, and I continue to show up in new ways for myself. And so we're not going backwards. And so many people, many of us choose to be on our own instead of go into a relationship that's like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore because those shoes don't fit. It's not me. It's not my template anymore. It's not my blueprint anymore. It's not my identity anymore. Right? We've evolved beyond that. And so it takes like a tremendous amount of patience. Because I could say, you could probably say this to yourself, like you probably could be in a relationship right now, but it wouldn't be the one that you want. So there's a point to it's worth the wait. And the thing is, it's not like we're sitting around like twiddling our thumbs in the meantime, right? We are still contributing to our growth and to the growth of our species, our collective, our humanity. Because what we're doing is we're refining, 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 refining. And we're creating a new recipe for romantic partnership that is going to be a part of this change in the world, this consciousness shift, this evolutionary shift. We're changing and becoming what some will say the future human. And part of the future human is being heart-centered. It's being awake and aware. And I don't mean that in a snobby, new agey spiritual way. I mean that in literally you're coming back to the template of who you are. You're embodying your soul self, right? And so your soul self is going to have a much vaster, wider, more expansive view and experience of life. Your wisdom is going to come in, right? But that what we're doing is we're shifting the center of gravity from primarily living through mind, logical, rational mind, into heart and frequency and vibration and feeling and connectivity. Because in the heart, you can feel the interconnectivity. The mind can easily compartmentalize and segregate and can be more judgmental if the judge or the critic is within that space too much, right? So how can we collectively support one another? When you go into your vision, extend it beyond yourself. So if you were to start by doing a meditation, let's say, where you want to go into what is the vision. I'm following these beautiful Monday morning meditations, and today was about building, a vision. What is your vision? And I so resonate with the way that this man leads it, guides it, that have the vision, but immediately go to the essence of that vision. Immediately go into the essence of the vision, because how we create is through feeling. So go into the feeling of what it is that you're wanting to create, right? What is the vision of your life? So right now we're on the topic and theme of romantic relationships, but it could be, that's just an aspect of it. It could be so many things, right? But whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into manifestation, feel the essence of that, feel the expansive nature of that. And when you begin with yourself, of course, because here you are living this experience in this life through the lens of who you are. So really deeply connect into what are your desires? What are your visions? There could be a multitude of visions that are all interconnected. And you see it and you feel it and you recognize how the beautiful effect that it has on you, whether it makes you feel fulfilled or relieved or inspired, or like you can exhale or whatever, again, there's a multitude of different feelings that you can have. But at the end of it, you look through the lens of, and how does this contribute to the whole? So that it's not just about you, but there is this generosity of, when I'm in this place and I feel deeply fulfilled and I'm in the state of being of love, how does that contribute, like from heart-centered open, extending out, how does that contribute to the whole? So if I were to look at how does conscious relationship contribute to the whole? It elevates everyone into a different paradigm of interrelational dynamics. If first you begin with yourself, right? Which is what we've been doing. You do the inner healing. We're in the year of 9. We're in the year of completion. We're in the year of the snake that is shedding the old skin, right? There's been a lot of inner healing, which then allows us to elevate and then go into healthier, more conscious relationships. When you take 2 that have done that work and they come into partnership, you exponentiate the power and the potency of the energy and the frequency that you've created within yourself, right? Then you take all of these partnerships that will come into the fore, they're going to arrive, right? And then they create communities. And those communities, it's like this, when you see sometimes in these films or in videos, I don't know how they make it, but it's like you see this drop of light and then it's like, poof, it just like extends like a massive immediate ripple, right? Like if you were to throw a pebble into the water and it has those concentric circles, but this is like light that just goes poof, just expands like that. That's how I see the future vision of it. Begins with you, and then it will be in not only your romantic partnership, but all of your relationships with your children, with your parents, with your brothers and sisters, with your friends, with the people that you work with the people that you encounter each and every day. You bring this essence and this emanation through in all of your partnerships, because what we're learning right now is to be in higher to be in higher and more evolved states of partnerships with one another. We're learning about relationship. First, we're learning about the relationship with ourselves, and then we're learning about relationship to other. Because if you look at all the conflict in the world, it comes down to that we're not very good at being in relationship and in communication with other people in a kind, heart-centered way, right? There's so much division, there's so much argument, there's so many opinions, there's a lot of disrespect that comes through that, there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of projection, we're learning, right? So all of the gunk is coming up to be clear, to go, I don't want to be like that. Like that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when I hate. It doesn't feel good when I criticize. It doesn't feel good when I judge. It doesn't feel good when I'm against, right? Like what we really truly want underneath everything is unity. That doesn't mean homogenization, but unity that comes through harmony, peace. I respect and honor your authentic self as you respect my authentic self, and that we recognize that we're each and every one of us a drop of the same ocean, but that drop can be this beautiful, unique expression of the ocean in and of itself, right? But that we are part of a greater whole. So everything, like going back to that image of this like circle of light that just expands and it covers the entire, not only the entire globe, but it goes beyond the universe, multiverse, into everything. It's the butterfly effect, right? It affects everything in existence. When we recognize that we are the thread of the same tapestry, and that how we show up and how we're choosing different partnerships, and we're choosing different communities, and we're choosing how we all interrelate with each other in a different way that is more evolved, that is more heart-centered, that is more loving, that is more collaborative, that is more harmonious. That's how we create the change. Nobody's going to come in and save us and beam some like, beautiful light that's like, poof, it's all like beautiful, airy fairy now, right? Like we're having to trudge through the mud. We're having to do the work, and we're constantly being given opportunities of division and horror and hatred and violence and death. Every single time it comes up, we have the choice. It's the choice point. Do I fight against you or do I work with you? Right? And so it's going to get so loud and it's going to get so blatant and so horrible until we go, wait a second, this isn't about sides at all. This is about humanity. This is about love. This is about life. And so in that, we bring soul into human form, because the human form, when we're stuck just in the personality, it can be very easy to go, I'm right, you're wrong. My side's better, your side's worse, right? These people deserve this, these people deserve that. No. It's all about life. It's all about soul. It's about seeing the divine in each and every one of us, right? And this is the elevation. So I know it seems like I'm going off on a tangent here, but it begins, of course, the micro expands into the macro, right? So it begins with the seed, and you are the seed. You are the one that's going to change the world. You are the one that's going to change the template and the paradigm and the construct of all things. So if today we're talking about romantic relationship, who do you need to be in order to be in the relationship that you really want to be in? Right? And this is why, like, healthy boundaries of saying, no, I'm not going to go into that dynamic. I'm not going to repeat that pattern. I'm not going to show up as the person that did this or felt that, because I've evolved. And so it might mean for a period of time you're on your own. And it might mean that you might try, and I don't like using the word failure, because no relationship is a failure, because there's always a point of learning should you choose to take it, right? But you try, you fall, you get up again, you try again. And you keep on implementing and showing up as a more evolved version of yourself, not because who you are isn't good enough, but because we're having to, like, shake off old patterns of behavior that are just too small for us, or we've moved beyond it, right? So bring mindfulness into your life. Notice, how do you communicate with the people that are around you? Do you show up with love? Do you show up with self-responsibility? Do you show up with kindness? How do you communicate? Are you hiding? Are you passive aggressive? All of these things will help cultivate relationship. And so then that will translate into our romantic relationships. So what does it mean for us if I say, oh, there's a small pool of people right now, right? Because some people might be like, well, man, they're going to get it and I'm not going to get it because there's not enough choice. But the thing is, you have to recognize that there is, within that pool of, say, 20-25%, there is enough of a mixture there that we will gravitate towards those that we are, ultimately it's also, we're not in control. Like, you have to really trust your soul guidance here, that you're going to be drawn to the person that you're meant to be with. I really truly believe that. But you have to understand that it's like, as we're making this collective agreement, individual and collective agreement, that it's like, okay, we're not going to keep on replaying the past. And we're being an example and there are already those that are being example for us, right? It's this, like, unfolding, and there's the rope that everyone is kind of like walking up the Mount Everest, being like, okay, this is the way, and thank you for, like, putting in the stakes before I get there. And then we hand it to the people behind us, right? We're all getting there. We're all gonna, it's Pam Gregory that says that we're all gonna board the plane, right? It's just that some are, board ahead of of those that are at the back, right? We all get on the plane in the end. So just know that your process right now to bring in that relationship, and even if it might feel like, oh, you're having to wait, and it feels, the killer of a vision is doubt. And I hold my hand up. I have had my periods of really having a lot of doubt, and that's just part of the process, and that's okay. Be with it. Be with it. Go into the doubt, go into the despair, go into all of those things. Feel it. It's part of the purging, right? It's part of the, even the part that might go, I'm not whole, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not anything until I'm in a relationship, right? Sorry, I keep on hitting the microphone. I'm sorry about that. Know that everything that you're going through right now, every aspect of it, is moving you in the direction that you're wanting to go in, to have the more evolved conscious relationship that you're seeking. Every part of it, use it. The only thing that's going to hold you back, quote unquote, is if you don't use it, if you turn a blind eye to it. As I said in the beginning, this is not a path for the cowards, right? This is a path for the brave. That, looking at ourselves, staying with ourselves, it's not about analysis. It's about staying with ourselves in the process. Okay, this feeling is coming up. Can I stay with it? This feeling is coming up. Can I stay with it? And eventually it's all unfolding and unfurling and evolving to the place that you're wanting to get to, because you have that initial vision and you know the essence of that vision. You feel it, right? And as best as you can, keep on believing in it. And if you feel alone with it, feel yourself as this part of the thread of a greater tapestry, or the piece of the puzzle, or the tile of the mosaic, that you are not alone doing this. And how we can support one another, again, is feel how you would feel when you have that partnership, your romantic relationship that you've been waiting so patiently for. Feel what that does to you, and then emanate that and give it to humanity. Give that feeling of love, give that feeling of safety, give that feeling of expansion, give that feeling of fulfillment, of joy, of bliss, of gratitude. So much gratitude. Give that to everyone else that is looking for their conscious relationship, and give that to all the beings, not even just humans, but all the beings and species on this planet. Give it to the planet herself, give it to the universe, give it to source, give it to all that is. The bigger we make ourselves in our light, the larger the vessel, the more light that can come in, the more light that gets to shine out. And then it's just this reciprocal, beautiful flow of energy and love and creation and presence and consciousness. So it's not just you in your house, in your room, on your bed with your tears going, where is my person? And you will have those moments, and you will shed those tears, and you will feel the despair, and you will feel the hopelessness, and it will hurt. And you stay with them, and you feel them, and you hold them in your heart, and you let love transmute them, because the love that you're wanting to experience with another is already there within you. Because if it wasn't there, you wouldn't know that you want it. So because you know what you want and what you feel in this moment you're lacking, shows you that you already know and have it within you. What we're trying to do is have the internal experience of that be reflected in the external, and to have the internal feeling embodied in physical form, right? In the form of a person. Know that you're not alone in the process. Know that there's nothing wrong with you. Know that you're not going to be alone forever, but we are going through a period where many of us are alone, because it's also, we're making a clear statement in the template of relationship to say we will not repeat unhealthy patterns. And if it means that there's a period of transition where we have to be on our own, it's worth it, because we are not willing to repeat unhealthy patterns. Yeah? So know that you're not alone. Keep walking the path. Keep looking at yourself with love and patience and compassion. You're bringing consciousness and self-awareness into everything that you do. And that's a thing of beauty. It's not a criticism. You're not self-criticizing yourself. You're not scrutinizing yourself. You're becoming an ever more present awareness that is observing and within your experience with so much light and consciousness. And just trust that you're going to meet the people that are going to be on that, riding that, like surfing that same bandwidth, right? Of consciousness, neither better or worse, just a different melody, like a different band of a melody, right? And you will come into crossing and into existence and into space with the person or people. This isn't just about romantic relationship. It's also your community. You will come into that bandwidth in the right time, and it's not just about you. They might have some more work to do. They might have some more soul searching to do. But can we believe without a shadow of a doubt that they're there? And never mind, again, I really, really want to make it very clear. I'm not segregating humanity to say, well, this group is better than that group. It's just different waves of people coming into this level of consciousness, right? And like I said, the rope is there. You're leading. Your hand is behind you, saying, "Okay, follow me in a good way, in a positive way," right? Like I'm not leaving you behind. But just for now, don't compare yourself to the other 75%. right? Don't compare. Don't ever compare. In general, it always creates suffering, right? Stay on your track. You've chosen this path. Nobody's forced you into it. Nobody even forced you to come onto this planet, even though some of us might sometimes go, why? Why did I do this, right? Why did I come here? Why did I volunteer? But we chose it. And we're choosing this particular path. And other people are choosing different paths, and that's okay. That's great. It's great for them. We've all come here because our soul wants to learn something in particular. And again, there's no judgment, right? Trust your path, trust your choice, trust the choice that you continue to make. Your job is just to be present, to show up with as much heart and love and awareness and kindness as possible. Trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. Trust your soul. Your soul is guiding you. Your team is guiding you. But also we can support each other. So right now, as you listen to this, and as you feel into other people listening to this, maybe in this exact moment or maybe in another moment, this interconnects us. It's like the transmission of this is interconnecting all of us right now. So even in this moment, even if you're in your car or on your bed or on your sofa listening to this by yourself, you're not alone. Because we're weaving a tapestry as we're experiencing this together right now. So root for those that are also like you wanting romantic partnership on another level. Like we're creating a different blueprint and template of relationship. How beautiful is that? How lucky are we to do that? So root for everyone else that is wanting that and know that you're going to get that in turn, right? We're all rooting for one another. You're not alone in this process. So the invitation is to really connect to the vision that you are really wanting to call in to physical form. Feel the essence of that vision. Emanate that out so that it expands like the rays of the sun. And then see how that is a part of the whole, of the bigger tapestry, of the larger puzzle. And do not exclude yourself from that. Feel yourself as the whole, right? And let's get into the space of encouraging one another to really be able to embody, create, and share and collaborate within this beautiful vision of just greater love, which will extend beyond a romantic relationship. But that's, the theme, and that's what we're focusing on right now. But that will be a beautiful gift of service to the whole, to this world, to our species. So sit with that, vision it, put it into your meditation, put it into your being with, put it into your walks in nature, put it into your driving to work, put it into your, buying the groceries, put it into everything. And remember that you're not alone. I'll leave it at that. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye. Thanks for being here with me. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.